Good morning, everyone. So I'll start with the prologue first. Mr. Vincent Joel Reddy is the owner of plot number 23, Hizra Enclave, Pupalguda, Hyderabad. The concerned plot is a three-bedroom duplex of 1,500 square feet. He decided to sell the plot to Ms. Rutina Yadav for a price of rupees 1.2 crores. And the two conclude the terms and conditions of the sale via a verbal agreement on 1st January 2020. The sale agreement is not drafted. As per the verbal agreement made between each other, Mr. Vincent shall renovate the property in the way Miss Rutina wants it, and upon completion shall inform her, who will pay 20 lakh rupees to Mr. Vincent, following which she will come into possession of the property and then pay the remaining amount of 1 crore. Mr. Vincent then took the next month or so to renovate the property in accordance with Miss Rutina's wishes. On completion of renovation, he informed Miss Rutina, who then paid 20 lakhs to Mr. Vincent on 25th March 2020, with plans of moving into the property on 1st April 2020. But before Miss Rutina could do so, a lockdown was imposed across the country due to the pandemic. Due to the lockdown and subsequent issues that came with it, Miss Rutina never did take possession of the house. On 2nd April 2022, after nearly 2 years had passed after the initial payment, Mr. Vincent asked Miss Rutina to pay the remaining amount to him, but the latter is of the belief that the value of the property has gone down in these 2 years and hence does not want to pay the amount they had previously agreed upon. Mr. Vincent is thus seeking the enforcement of his verbal agreement with Miss Rutina. I shall start with the mediator opening statement now. Good morning to both of you. Thank you for reaching out to mediators for help in resolving a situation. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Vishal Sanvitra. You may call me Vishal. I shall be the mediator for your dispute. Now, there will be negotiations between you with me as mediator. This procedure is voluntary, carried out only if both parties agree to participate. At any time, you can end our conversation and refuse further participation in mediation. In addition, mediation respects the sacrament of all the information that you voice here. Nothing you say will leave this room. Each of you can ask the mediator to meet confidentially to discuss information that you would like to hide from the other party. In mediation, all parties have equal rights to express their position, ask questions, and offer solutions. You make the decision in mediation. It is important to follow simple rules. Do not insult each other, do not get personal, and actively cooperate. Now let's start. Can the parties please introduce themselves and put their concerns forward? Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Vishal. I am Rutina Yadav. I have no intentions of not performing my end of the agreement made with Vincent. In fact, I would very much like to gain possession of the plot uh, at the right price. I feel the value of the plot has decreased in the past 2 years, and I am of the opinion that the previous price of 1 crore rupee is high, and after considering the degradation of the property in the last 2 years.
Hi, I'm Vincent Reddy. Firstly, thank you for setting up this process of mediation. Although I can understand how Ruthina feels, I do not agree with her. I have already accepted the initial payment and was more than willing to allow her to take possession of the plot. But she did not do so. Following this, the lockdown did not allow her to take possession either. I cannot be blamed for this. At the same time, I do not think the property has degraded to the point that its value has decreased as well.
I see. Well, thank you for the briefing, both of you. I would like to form the agendas for our session with the information you both have provided. Number one, whether specific performance of the agreement by Rutina is doable. Number two, if specific performance can be accomplished, then shall the property be sold on the same amount as per the agreement made, or is there a need for a change? And finally, number three, if specific performance by Rutina is not in the interest of one or both the parties, then separate decision needs to be made.
Thank you for listing the agendas, Vishal. I shall clear the first agenda right now. As I have said before, I absolutely want to perform on the agreement by taking possession of the plot and paying back the remaining amount to Vincent. But in my opinion, the value of the plot has decreased during the last 2 years, and hence I am not ready to pay an amount of 1 crore rupees for it.
I also would like to transfer the rights to the property to Ruthina, but she repeatedly keeps saying that the property's value has decreased, which is definitely possible, but it is something expected. Further, I believe the degradation is not so severe where it requires a decrease in the price, and finally, it cannot be applied here due to the fact that Ruthina never took possession. Due to the pandemic and the expenditure made on renovations, I have incurred some debts, which have been burdening on me on top of expenses during the pandemic. Hence, I cannot agree to reduce the due amount.
I see. Rutina, would you like to address Vincent's claims?
I am so sorry to hear about your financial situation. I myself have accrued financial losses due to the pandemic. Still, I believe the value of the property has degraded during these last 2 years. I would like to reappraisal, reappraisal of its value and pay accordingly.
See, as I've mentioned before, degradation is only natural and is expected to happen. After all, there is no person, after all, there was no person staying in the plot to maintain it. I stand firmly by this as it is reasonable and inevitable. I cannot agree to sell the property at a lesser price than what was agreed between us. For for an eventual cause that is not my responsibility whatsoever.
Well, it seems like we have reached a stalemate. Thus, let us conduct a caucus session where we will be meeting 1:1. Thank you. Rutina, if you could please join me, and Vincent, if you could please leave the room, I will start a private session. Thank you.
Sure.
Well, Rutina, are you satisfied with the session and how it is proceeding?
No, I'm trying to reach a proposal where I pay back Vincent the amount I owe him, which has to be calculated on the current value of the plot.
I see. Well, this is the caucus session. This will be a confidential process, and whatever you will be telling me would be between us only. We will tell it to the other party only if you allow it. So please feel free to give any other information that hasn't been said earlier to me or the other party.
Actually, I do have something to share with you, which was not mentioned before. On inspecting the concerned property, I have realized that Vincent had not entirely made the renovations in accordance to my preferences. My
Mhm.
renovation included expansions of rooms along with creation of a penthouse on the terrace. He has not built the penthouse, which I would say is the most important of my requirements. Adding on, whatever expansion he has made as requested by me are already degrading. Degrading. I feel paying the original amount as per our agreement would be unfair to me, taking into account the renovations made along with their quality. Thus, considering the current financial situation of Vincent and my own requirements, I would like to make an offer. I would like a reduction of 20% on the amount of 1 crore, after which I will pay the remaining amount of 80 lakh rupees.
All right. So I'd like to note down that you're willing to pay rupees 80 lakh to Vincent to acquire the concerned property in Kisra Enclave.
Yes,
Would you like me to convey this to the other part?
yes, sure.
Very well. I would also like to mention that we had three agendas. One, with respect to specific performance, you are agreeing to do it. Two, with respect to the amount required for specific form of performance, you demand a reduction of 20% on the amount of 1 crore rupees. Is there anything else I've missed? And would you like to add anything to this?
No, that would be all.
I see. Thank you for your offer. I would like you to wait until the other party's 1:1 session is finished.
Sure, Vishal.
Very well. Vincent, if you could please come in.
Yeah.
Thank you for your cooperation, Vincent. Are you satisfied with the session and how it is proceeding?
No, the other party is not understanding my situation, and I need a quick remedy to pull myself out of this financial crisis, which has been worsening day by day.
I see. Well, the other party has disclosed some information regarding the property at hand, Vincent. I believe that the renovations, as requested by her, were not entirely fulfilled. A major one being that the penthouse was not built at all. Taking into consideration the unfulfillment of her request, along with your financial burden, an offer has been made wherein Rutina shall receive a reduction of 20% on the due amount of 1 crore rupees, following which she will pay the remaining amount of 80 lakh rupees to acquire the property. How would you like to respond to this offer made by the other party?
I appreciate the offer, taking into account the way in which the renovation has been made. Uh, I agree that a certain reduction in the original due amount is fair and reasonable, but I do not agree with the percentage offered by the other party.
I see. So, in other words, do you agree with the specific performance of the agreement, including a change in the amount, but the percentage of reduction is too high, right?
Yes,
All right, then. If that is the case, could you please specify what percentage that you're willing to reduce from the original due amount?
coming to the percentage, I believe a reduction of 10% of the original amount of 1 crore is appropriate, taking into account my financial burden and the current state of the home. Thus, an amount of 90 lakhs for possession of the property seems to be reasonable to me.
All right. Do you want me to convey this to the other party?
Yes, please.
All right. Is there anything else that you would like to tell us or convey to the other party to end this deadlock and reach a fruitful settlement?
Just please convey to her that I'm facing a financial crisis and I'm unable to meet my third party obligations. So please make sure that we both reach an agreeable conclusion to this mediation.
I see. Well, thank you, Vincent. May I call the other party to resume our mediation?
Of course.
Sure. Rutina, if you could please join us. Thank you. Well, thank you, Ritina. So both the parties for the caucus session we had. Now I would like to highlight the settlement ideas which were given to me during the caucus session. Ms. Rutina has asked for a 20% reduction in the original due amount of 1 crore for the purchase of the concerned property. To this, Mr. Vincent has responded by suggesting a counter offer wherein a reduction of 10% in the original due amount can be done. How would you like to respond to Vincent's counter offer, Rutina?
A reduction of 10% on the due amount of 1 crore is too less considering the fact that the renovations to the plot were not done properly. I intend to complete the renovation and in the process repair the degrading wall as well. This will not be possible if only a mere 10% is reduced from the due amount.
There is definitely a large difference between 20 and 10%. Mr. Vincent, would you consider Ms. Rutina's offer?
Rutina's offer will not allow me to pay off the loans that I have accrued during the pandemic. Although I thank Ruthina for being understand of my plight. I still believe that 10% reduction in the due amount is enough.
It is true that you may be going through many difficulties due to the pandemic, which has caused your business to perform poorly, but this does not change the fact that the property concerned was never renovated the way I wanted it to be. I could have easily chosen to ask for a higher percentage of reduction in the due amount, but I chose not to as I was being sympathetic. I cannot agree with the counter offer as I feel my original offer is fair.
Hmm. Well, with this, I can conclude that you both have reached a deadlock again with respect to the percentage that is to be deducted on the due amount, but have come to a common understanding that specific performance shall be done and there shall be a reduction in the due amount of 1 crore rupees. Thank you both. It was a fruitful session. To sum up, we have settled the first issue as to the specific performance, where Rutina has agreed to perform the agreement, albeit with a reduction in the due amount. But we are yet to decide the percentage of reduction on the due amount that is to be paid to Vincent. I would like to see you both in the next session I will soon notify both with the details of the next session through both email and phone calls so that we can resolve the final issue.
Thank you, mediator and Ruthina. It was a fruitful session as we came to an agreement on some issues and hope that our next session would resolve the conflict once and for all.
I thank the mediator and Vincent for this session. I am happy that we have reached an agreement with respect to the possession of the property along with the sale.
Thank you. I hope to see you both in the next session. Good afternoon to both the parties. I hope you are ready for our second session as agreed. Let's begin with Rutina, who is of the opinion that a reduction in the due amount by 20% is justified. Rutina, do you still stand by your opinion?
Yes, I stand firmly by my statement that a 20% reduction is fair and justified.
Vincent, please share your decision regarding the matter at hand.
There isn't much to explain. My financial condition is worsening and I won't be able to provide a reduction of 20% on the due amount as the losses will be too high for me. But I am willing to make a new offer on the reduction percentage.
That sounds good. Rutina, would you like to hear Vincent's new offer?
Although I prefer the 20% reduction rate, if it means we can settle this matter quickly, then yes, I'm willing to hear Vincent's new offer.
Thank you so much, Rutina. Vincent, please suggest your new offer.
Thank you, Vishal. I do not want our mediation to drag on as well. Hence, taking into account everything that has occurred up till now, I am willing to meet Ruthina's offer midway and suggest that a 15% reduction in the due amount of 1 crore is manageable.
I appreciate your offer, Vincent. Rutina, what do you think about this?
All right, I accept Vincent's offer of reducing the due amount to be paid by 15% for the possession of plot.
I am so glad to hear that. Vincent, do you stand by the latest offer you made?
Yes, Vishal. This session has been fruitful, and I do stand by my offer, and I'm glad Ruthina agreed to it.
Fantastic. So, to summarize the negotiation, Rutina has agreed to settle the dispute by accepting your offer of reducing the amount of 1 crore rupees by 15%. Hence, Rutina will now be required to pay a sum of 85 lakh rupees to acquire the right to possess the concerned property. Rutina, when will you pay this amount to Vincent?
I shall pay the amount once the session is complete.
That is very well. That is very good to hear. So, with this, we have resolved all of our disputes with respect to the performance of the agreement and with regards to the reduction in the price of the due amount. Now, I shall draft the agreement, following which you both are required to sign it. I am also obliged to let you know that if any party breaches the mediation agreement, the defaulting party may be sued. Thank you so much for your openness and for giving your best efforts. You were able to reach an agreement and have resolved it amicably.
Thank you for undertaking this mediation process, Vishal.
Thank you for all the help, Vishal.
Thank you, and that will be the end of our role play.